Episode 1.
Good morning, world travelers. This is Dan Burgess in New York with today's worldwide culturally literate traveler. If you're new to our show, here's the format. In each program, one of our experts takes your phone calls and answers your questions about etiquette in their countries. Today's guest is Fareed in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Welcome, Fareed.
Thank you, Dan. It's an honor to be your guest today.
Okay, let's get started. I see we have a caller on the line to speak to you. Hello, Hoshi from Osaka, Japan. You're on the air.
Thank you, Dan. And hello, Fareed. My wife and I are going to Dubai and Abu Dhabi for a mix of business and pleasure, and we need to get a handle on local do's and don'ts. We're really looking forward to driving across the desert from Dubai to Abu Dhabi and seeing the scenery. In any case, my wife and I are well aware that Dubai and Abu Dhabi are quite different from Japan. So we have a few questions.
Hello, Hoshi. I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Thanks, Fareed. So our first questions really relate to my wife, because she will be alone during the time I'm in business meetings. Basically, she's wondering about do's and don'ts for dressing, whether she can walk on the street alone or drive a car. We are planning on renting one for our visit. She remembers that when we went to Saudi Arabia a few years ago, women weren't permitted to drive. I know that's changed there recently, but what's the rule in the Emirates? Oh, and could you tell us about any expected clothing customs for women?
Absolutely. Your wife will have no difficulty getting around, even if she's alone. She can drive, and as long as she dresses relatively modestly, she can wear whatever she likes.
That's great. Next question. We don't speak any Arabic. That won't be a problem, will it?
Definitely not. As you know, Arabic is the official language of the Emirates, but English is commonly used in tourism and commerce.
You speak very good English, Fareed. If you don't mind my asking, where did you learn it?
Thank you. As a matter of fact, I happen to be an English teacher. I learned my English in the United States at the University of Wisconsin.
And one last question. This one's about me. I'm an amateur photographer. Are there any taboos I should know about when I'm there?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a taboo, but it's important to know that it's considered very offensive to take pictures of women.
Oh, I'm glad I asked. What about pictures of men?
Not as bad, but still problematic. But just be sure to ask permission, as you would anywhere.
I don't know how to thank you, Fareed. I'm really looking forward to that trip.
Thank you, Fareed and Hoshi, for a good lesson in cultural literacy. So, listeners, I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about the culture and traditions of Dubai and the Emirates. That's all for today. Tune in next week for another conversation with Culturally Literate Traveler.
Episode 2.
Welcome back, listeners. From New York, this is Dan Burgess again with today's worldwide Culturally Literate Traveler. In each program, one of our experts takes your phone calls and answers your questions about etiquette in their countries. Today's guest expert is Kulap from Bangkok, Thailand. Welcome to Culturally Literate Traveler, Kulap.
Thank you, Dan. It's great to be with you again. What's in store for us today?
We have Sonia from La Paz, Bolivia on the line. Welcome, Sonia.
Good morning from La Paz, high up in the beautiful Andes Mountains. I have a question for Kulap in Bangkok. By the way, Kulap, what time is it there right now?
It's 10:30 Wednesday morning here. What time is it there?
It's 11:30 here, but it's Tuesday night. I guess you're about 11 hours ahead of us?
That's right.
So here's my question. I'm traveling on business to Thailand next month, and I'll be working with Thai business managers from my company. Is there anything I should know about the culture that might get me into trouble?
Actually, yes. When you're seated, be sure not to cross your legs in such a way that others can see the bottom of your foot.
Interestingly, I knew that, but it's good to be reminded. Another thing, after I finish working each day, I'll be socializing with the people in my company. I've heard that one of the managers may invite us to dinner in his home. Do you have any tips for me when I visit a Thai family?
Let me think. Oh, yes, definitely. There might be children in the household. If there are, be sure not to pat them on the head the way non-Thai people often do when meeting children. That's pretty taboo here.
Well, I don't ordinarily do that, but if you don't mind my asking, what's the problem with touching someone's head?
Well, we believe the head is where the person's soul lives. So it's very disrespectful and offensive to touch a person's head, even a child's head.
Well, I'll be sure to keep that in mind. Kulap, I do have one more specific question before I hang up.
Sure, what's that?
In Bolivia, it's customary to shake hands, and I know Thai people greet each other with the Y. I always like to observe local customs when I'm traveling outside of Bolivia. Would it be impolite for a foreigner to do the Y? And what happens if I don't do it right? Would that be offensive?
Absolutely not. Just put the palms of your hands together on your chest and bow slightly. Say, Sawadee-ka. For the men listening, you say, Sawadee krap. You'll warm our hearts with that. Don't worry if you don't do it exactly the way Thais do it. And don't worry about the pronunciation. Have a wonderful trip to Thailand. Try to do some sightseeing and taste our wonderful food.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kulap and Sonia, for such an interesting lesson in cultural literacy. Tune in again next week for another episode of Culturally Literate Traveler.
Episode 3.
Welcome back, listeners. This is Dan Burgess in New York with another episode of Culturally Literate Traveler. Today's expert is Alicia from Nepal in South Asia. Welcome, Alicia.
So happy to be with you again, Dan.
Today's caller is Silvio from Campinas, Brazil. Silvio, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call. I'm going to Nepal next month on an international trek. I'll be staying with a Nepalese family for a weekend, and I want to be sure I don't offend anyone. Brazil is very different from Nepal, isn't it?
Well, let's ask Alicia to comment.
Hi, Silvio. I think the biggest cultural difference that will affect you directly is table manners. First of all, Nepalese don't usually use spoons, forks, or knives.
No? So how do the people eat? How will I eat?
Well, your host will eat with their right hand, never the left hand. But I'm sure they will provide you with spoons and forks. If they are welcoming foreigners into their home, they will want you to be comfortable. Oh, you are from Brazil, aren't you?
I am?
I have read that Brazilians eat a lot of beef. That's one thing you won't see here. Eating beef is taboo. It's strictly forbidden as a food in both Hindu and Buddhist homes. But don't worry, you will have plenty of other delicious things to eat. Our typical food is wonderful and very flavorful and healthy.
That's great, because I love to try new foods when I travel. Alicia, I'm really interested in knowing more about your culture and the religions there. I don't know much about Hinduism or Buddhism. What can you tell me?
Well, if you visit a Hindu temple or a Buddhist shrine, you must remove your shoes. Or, if you prefer, you can wear open sandals. Check first. In some Hindu temples, non-Hindus can't enter. And, very important, don't bring anything made of leather, like a belt, into a temple, because leather comes from a cow. Oh, and if you want to take a picture, be sure to ask before using your camera.
Thanks so much. I feel pretty prepared now and ready for my adventure.
My pleasure.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Until next time, this is Dan Burgess in New York, reminding you that in today's world, cultural literacy is an essential survival skill and one that enables us to interact with people different from us all over the world.
You must be Antonio from the Mexico City office. How nice to meet you. I'm Leslie Reed, the sales director.
Leslie, I was in your video conference last week. So nice to meet you in person.
Same here. You're planning to be here in Miami for the whole month, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. But I may take a couple of vacation days here before heading back. Minsu, what are you doing here?
Antonio? I can't believe it. I thought you were at Éxito in Mexico City.
I was until about 2 weeks ago, but I was offered a position at Galaxy. I'm here for orientation and training.
Leslie, this is unbelievable. Antonio and I used to work together for Éxito in Los Angeles.
Small world. Minsu, would you be nice enough to help Antonio get settled? He'll be in Jack's old office.
So, I need to get a handle on company culture here. Is everyone on a first-name basis?
Absolutely. Except when there are clients present, in which case we tend to be a little more formal. You know, suits and ties, etc. With visitors, we usually start with titles and last names, unless they suggest otherwise.
Good to know.
Social Q&As.
Dear Culture Guru, I'm writing about my daughter Lily, who's a top-notch soccer player and who wants to become a professional player. She has just been offered a scholarship to study at a UK soccer academy that combines academic study with professional soccer training and the promise of helping her launch a professional career. My concern is that the financial outlook for professional female soccer players is very poor. I don't want to stand in the way of her happiness, but I think she should prepare for a career with a better outlook. Having grown up male, I didn't realize until I had a daughter the consequences of sexism in women's lives. Any advice for me? Or for her? Loving Dad in Dallas.
Dear Loving Dad in Dallas, you are indeed right to be concerned. The gender pay gap between male and female players is enormous. Although there are signs of improvement, a 2018 study by the International Federation of Professional Footballers reported that 49% of professional female soccer players do not even earn a salary, and that 87% of female players finish their career before they're 25 due to low pay or lack of pay. If I were you, I'd encourage Lily to play soccer since she's got her heart set on it, but to have a backup plan and prepare for the years after her career ends. Hopefully we'll see a reduction in sexism in the near future, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
Dear Culture Guru, I'm the CEO of a nationwide family-owned tire business that's been in operation for almost 100 years. My dad used to run the company, but he retired last year and I took the reins. My husband is a stay-at-home dad, an amateur cook, and a pretty successful food blogger. I work long hours, as does my husband, who takes care of our house and 3 children. The problem is my dad. He's embarrassed that my husband doesn't have a high-powered career. Dad makes little comments and jokes about him, especially when we're with other people. Any ideas that could help us? Happy in Honolulu.
Dear Happy in Honolulu, no matter how much progress we think we've made, many people still have a double standard when it comes to traditional gender roles. Even though most people now accept the idea of women's professional success, many still hold on to the idea that a man should be the breadwinner of the family. I'd suggest you take your dad aside and tell him that you love him, but that his comments and jokes are hurtful to you and your husband. He needs to understand that he made his lifestyle choices and you have the right to make yours. Hope that helps. This is Gail Wenders. Welcome to my podcast. I'm speaking today with 2 guests, Gonzalo Escobar, a teacher from Oaxaca, Mexico, and Dai Hong, a writer from Kunming, China. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Gonzalo, let's start with you. You're from Mexico, and some of our listeners may not be familiar with the Day of the Dead, the seasonal and religious holiday that's celebrated there. Tell us a little about it.
So, if you've ever seen the movie Coco, you know what the Day of the Dead, or Día de los Muertos, is.
I loved that movie.
In Mexico, we celebrate the holiday in late October and early November. We remember our relatives who have died.
But it's not a sad holiday, right?
That's right. Even though it's a time to remember the dead, it's actually a time of happiness and love, a celebration of life, even a time to tell funny stories about our loved ones.
So what do people do?
Well, it's traditional for families to put up orange and purple decorations. For example, orange marigold flowers and orange and purple colored paper. We also put up photographs of our dead relatives. We create a kind of memorial for them, just for the holiday. For example, we put out skulls, not real skulls, but skulls that are made of sugar, called calaveras, and our relatives' favorite drinks and foods. Many families spend the night at the cemetery to be with their loved ones who have died.
That actually sounds beautiful.
It is. People also come out into the street to celebrate. More recently, people have begun to paint their faces to look like the dead. And in some of the places that observe the holiday, there are parades, and there's music and people dance.
What are the religious ceremonies associated with the holiday?
Well, you could say there's a kind of ceremony for families at the cemetery. They walk together to their families' graves and they pray for their loved ones. And then they sit at the grave and have a picnic so they can enjoy a meal together, the living and the dead.
So interesting. Thanks, Gonzalo. So, Dai Hong, I understand there's a holiday Chinese people celebrate to remember the dead too. Is that right?
Yes, it's called Qingming. It's a seasonal holiday that usually takes place in April.
So what's special about it?
Well, on Qingming, everyone goes to the cemetery where their dead relatives are buried, and they clean and sweep their graves.
Gonzalo, cleaning graves is a tradition that's practiced on the Day of the Dead too, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We clean our relatives' graves at the cemetery, and we decorate them too, with photos and flowers. And we also leave traditional dishes there as well as the foods our loved ones used to like when they were living.
For us, cleaning the graves of our loved ones is a way to commemorate their lives and show respect for them. It's also an opportunity to go outside and enjoy the warmer spring weather. Many people like to fly kites during Qingming, again, to celebrate the warmer weather of the season. In some places, they even organize sports events for the occasion.
So it doesn't sound like a particularly sad holiday either, does it?
Not really. Gonzalo was talking about how Mexican families bring food and drinks to the cemetery for their dead relatives. It's really interesting. We do that too.
Are there any traditional dishes people make?
Yes, there's something that we like to make for the holiday and for our dead relatives to enjoy. Green rice balls. And we eat eggs too. Oh, and one other thing. We also like to leave colorful pieces of paper on our family's graves. It represents money. We want to be sure that our family members have enough of it, wherever they are.
So do other countries in Asia celebrate this holiday or something similar?
As a matter of fact, yes. There are similar holidays in Korea, Japan, Vietnam, Cambodia.
That's true for the Day of the Dead too. You can find similar holiday traditions throughout Latin America, in Guatemala, Peru, Brazil.
Really fascinating. Thank you both for telling us about these two holidays that have such similar traditions.
Jay, I've got a question about politics for you. Isn't there an election coming up this month?
Yes, there is. We've got local elections in 2 weeks.
So how does that work? Does everyone have to vote?
Not at all. You have to be 18 to vote, but it's up to you whether or not you do. Isn't it the same in Peru?
Actually, no. Voting is compulsory there.
Really? What does that mean exactly?
It means the government requires everyone over 21 to vote. If you don't, you have to pay a fine.
You have to vote no matter what?
Well, there are exceptions, of course, like if you're sick or if there's been a death in the family.
Wow, interesting. I wonder if we should try something like that here.
Maybe, but there are both pros and cons to it.
Like what?
Well, on the plus side, many people take their responsibility more seriously. But on the other hand, who wants the government to tell you what to do? I've heard that a lot of people show up to vote, but they don't write anything on their ballots.
Wow, it never occurred to me anyone would do that. I guess there's more to it than meets the eye.
That's true.
These are really interesting questions.
Yes, I thought so too.
But in some of these situations, you could just run away.
So, in which situations would you run away?
If I saw a snake in my bedroom, I'd freeze, actually.
And then what?
Then I'd move very slowly to get to the door and then run away as fast as I could. You?
It depends how big the snake is.
Here's another question. You're alone at a friend's house and it's winter. Someone knocks on the door. It's 10 o'clock at night.
Well, do I have a choice of answering or not?
How do you mean?
I could just ignore it.
Is that what you do?
Yes, I suppose so. How about this one? You're on a train and the person opposite you drops their empty drink can on the floor.
That's a tricky one. I'm the kind of person who, well, I'd like to say that I'd immediately say something, but, you know.
I don't quite get what you mean.
I mean that I could say that I'd ask them to pick up their rubbish, but I think that in real life I'd hesitate.
Why's that?
Maybe the person would get angry. And it depends on whether they're with their friends or if they're bigger than me.
Do you mean that it might be better not to say anything?
That's what I mean, I guess. I'd probably get up and walk away. I might give them a hard look, like this. What would you do?
Oh, no question in my mind. I would definitely confront them with the situation they'd just caused.
Thank you for coming to tonight's debate. We welcome our audience and thank you for your interest. Our debate topic tonight is a dictatorship sometimes necessary? Let's begin with Paula Green, who will present the argument in favor.
Good evening. Democracy may be the final goal, but sometimes a period of dictatorship is necessary in order to get there. First of all, in a dictatorship, the government can make good decisions quickly. In a democracy, the government's leadership and legislature is often made up of representatives of different political parties and points of view, so making good decisions can be very difficult and take a long time. This is especially true when a country has experienced a war or a disaster or some other major problem. Because the government in a dictatorship has total power, it can take actions that end fighting and conflict, or it can more easily resolve the problems caused by a disaster. Furthermore, elections can cost a lot of money. There's the cost of advertisements. In some cases, the economic costs of workers taking the day off to vote, the cost of political parties meeting to choose their candidates for the elections. In a developing country, where economic development is not so strong, a dictatorship offers a solution that would be easier on the country's economy. Finally, in a democracy, there's a lot of social instability as governments change from one political view to another. In a democracy, citizens disagree and argue about issues that would be easily resolved in a dictatorship. In a dictatorship, the government can force its citizens to work together peacefully, and this results in more social stability because people understand that the government has the power to make all political decisions. In some cases, the leaders are independent and have no particular political point of view. So citizens trust their government to represent and serve the desires and needs of the majority of the country's citizens. Thank you.
Now let's listen to Lance Bateman present the argument against.
Thank you and good evening. I'm afraid I disagree with every point that has just been made. There's only one way to ensure that the needs and desires of the citizens of a country are fully represented. That is a democracy. A government needs to allow its citizens, with all their various political points of view, to choose their representatives in that country's governing bodies. It's silly to think that a dictator will act in the best interests of the country's citizens. In many cases, a dictatorship encourages government corruption. Its leaders make decisions that are in their own best interests, as well as the best interests of their friends and family. Sometimes even in the best interests of the country's military leaders. This is also true in some monarchies. In some cases, a king or queen has complete power and no real opposition, such as citizens who are free to express a different political point of view. If no opposition is allowed, who will watch and comment on what the king or queen does? The idea that democracies can't make good decisions but dictators can is ridiculous. The world is filled with democracies that have quickly made important and good decisions for their citizens, as well as historic decisions that have helped other countries around the world. Having the right to choose your own representatives who will make decisions for you, is everyone's right. And it's a good thing for the country to spend money on the cost of elections to protect that right. Democracy works when people's political views are respected and when there is an open discussion between citizens with different views. We learn from each other when we listen to each other and work together to find solutions in the best interests of all of us. It's good for the country and good for its citizens. Thank you.
Thank you both for your arguments for and against. Now let's hear what our audience has to say.
Now,
well, obviously it needs to be the smart roads idea, really. There are so many traffic accidents at the moment, and anything we can do to reduce that number is good.
Yes, good point. And smart roads would definitely help with the problem, especially with the heavy snow in winter. But another way to fix the problem is to have fewer people in cars in our city. Does everyone agree with that?
It's a nice idea, Melinda, but I feel it's going to be very difficult to make people leave their cars at home.
OK, let's bring in a new voice to this discussion. Georgina.
Hey there, Melinda.
Georgina, what do you think? Do you see it the same way as I do? Fewer cars? Maybe we should charge people for driving into the city centre.
Well, yes, Melinda, we need fewer cars on the road, but I'm not sure about charging people. Another possibility is to make it cheaper to travel on public transport. The self-driving buses would help us with that.
But maybe people just prefer their cars. They feel more comfortable in their own space, not sitting on a crowded bus.
But it's not a question of if they are comfortable, Art. People need to be taught to use a new system, and we shouldn't worry if they get a little upset about changing how they behave. That's normal. Don't you think that people need to grow up and stop doing things which hurt our city, hurt the planet?
I understand how you feel. But I think you don't understand how people's minds work. They're not going to change their behaviour just because you get angry with them. They need to choose to do the right thing.
OK, let's bring in Roger now. Roger, what do you think about all this?